Hello everyone. Welcome to another series of Mainframe webinar by Royal Cyber. I'll be your host and speaker for today's session. Before we begin, here are some of the protocols we follow. We will go through the webinar as per the agenda plan, and in between, if you have any queries, feel free to post to us on the chat window. There will be a dedicated slot for Q&A. You can also post your questions or requests or queries to this email ID, namely info@royalcyber.com. We will be sharing a webinar survey form at the end of webinar. Please do fill in and revert back to us. Yeah, let's get into the topic. So today's topic is maximizing efficiency with Zowe Explorer for mainframe modernization or integration. And myself, Vijayalakshmi, manages mainframe practice at Royal Cyber and helps our customer for modernization solution and migration related engagements. Here is a quick agenda for the day. So we'll have brief introduction about Royal Cyber and our mainframe practice and our internal assets or solutions. And we'll also go through the topic on today, that is Zowe basics and the architecture, different components. And we will have deep diving into Zowe CLI and Zowe Explorer. These two, I'm going to take you to the live demo. And it also has an additional components. We'll have a brief introduction about that, and we will also see how we can contribute as a community to this Zowe for the developments. Yeah. Regarding Roy Cyber is a fast-growing IT consulting and digital transformation company specializing in IT services and solutions. We have more than 2 decades of experience. We have almost 2000 plus consultant across the globe, and we headquarters with Naperville, Illinois, USA. We have our global presence: USA, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Middle East, and we have multiple offshore development centers in India. Chennai and Bangalore is our biggest offshore delivery center. And we have a strategic partnership with a lot of technology company like IBM, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Rocket Software, Heirlooms, Broadcom, and many other technology company, which will eventually helps our customer to take it to the digital transformation journey. Regarding the practice, we provide reliable high performance solution for our customers within our mainframe practice. We provide services and solutioning in these 4 verticals. Mainframe infrastructure management, where we will support ZOS, ZVM, and Z Linux and other ISV product install and upgrade. And mainframe application services, where we do application enhancement and support. Mainframe modernization or enterprise modernization, where we will implement a modern IDE tools installation customization like IDZ, UCDZ, on other DevOps related orchestration, middleware integrations, and any kind of a modernization solutions and services. Uh, Managed services, we will provide for infrastructure support or mainframe production support for 24/7. We will go through from managed services model. So these are our practice related services. And within our practice, we do have a good center of excellence team to provide solutions. So our mainframe solutions cater into these areas. Let me little have a brief about our internal solutions. So this is a recent one, legacy SCM modernization, which is actually our own customized solution, which will actually migrate application assets from legacy SCM, which is an endeavor, to a modern SCM, which can be any modern SCM tool, maybe Git or GitHub or Bitbucket, TFS. So anything it can able to migrate. If we have a generic solution, the transformation can be configured during your choice of your target system. We can able to migrate assets from Endeavor to modern SCM. And we also have an urban code integration with Endeavor. Endeavor is a CA tool, and UCD is IBM. We did not had any direct plugins to integrate these two, and with which we have our own custom solutions. Whenever your customers are managing their software development with Endeavor, they can able to do the code changes, build and package it. So during the package shipment, we can able to integrate the deployment with UCD. So our own custom tool can able to get it, and we have integrated these two, and deployment can automate it with the help of UCD. And similar to SCM migration, we also had a migration of Endeavor to RTCZ in 2018 or 17. Our customers were wanted to migrate into rational team concept, which is an IBM tool. So we did a solution to migrate that. And we have something called micro focus cobalt migration, which migrates micro focus to people in an automated way. And custom code review. By default, your model Eclipse based IDE IBM developer for Z comes out with some kind of a code review rules. And but if you wanted to create your own customized code review rules or domain specific rules, we can able to incorporate. So we can develop a customized code review rule with the help of Java, and can be converted as a plugin and installed in IBM developer for Z. And we also work with the mainframe related DevOps orchestration. And we have web, uh, web application which can able to manage your password reset without any kind of a mainframe related skills. And we have monitor pro for G, which is middleware monitoring tool. MQ and IAP, which is installed and running on Z, can be monitored with a web-enabled interface. And with that, we can take some proactive measures. So this is our internal strength and capabilities. We have our own solutions. Yes, let us deep dive into today's topic, and we are going to understand what is Zowe and how we can improve the modernization efficiency with the help of Zowe. We're going to get into that. Before we get into those topics, let's try to understand what are the challenges the mainframe world is facing today. So just let's think through in latest we have so many technology advancement, modern toolings are there, but still most of our enterprise application, nearly 60 to 80% of the world data resides on mainframe, which we all aware. And what but still how what are the challenges we face? uh, yeah, if you can think through, we can understand the mainframe processing cost is high, maybe software licensing cost is high, and eventually it's very costly. Uh, and to make use of a mainframe for the development is too costly because of the MIPS usage. And we also have short of skilled resources. Most of the developers are in the stage of retirement, or maybe they have retired. So a new generations does not familiar with the legacy green screen programming or concepts. So we have a skill gap, right? And development with the ISPF screen with my kind of an enhancements or code changes that leads to inadequate code analysis because it does not have a lack of modern IDE. And of course, it also does not have an integration with your DevOps implementation. So yeah, uh, obviously you can see at the screen some more exhaustive list. So predominantly these are all the challenges we face. So how do we address? Zowe is kind of a modern mainframe modernization solution, and also it is a open software framework which completely efficiently supports your with the help of Zowe. So we are going to see how it is going to uh, does support for us. Okay, and just to give you a brief about Zowe, it is actually a open source software framework. So which means let's try to understand what it is, how it is evolved or developed, who developed this, and kind of some basics. So Zowe is actually a open source software framework which helps a mainframe developer and operations team to uh, collaboratively manage, control, and develop mainframe applications and manage mainframe infrastructures. And it is basically created with the help of complete IBM Z platform members or Z community to get benefited with the help of this open source technology. And this basically offers your modern interfaces which can interact with your ZOS, and it allows you to work with your Z system components and services, and you can able to feel as if that you can able to get all the modern technology implementation IDEs, and the way in which today you're going to with a cloud platform, similar experience you can able to achieve. And we also call Zowe as a part of our project within Open Mainframe project. What is Open Mainframe project? Actually, this Zowe is actually owned and managed by Linux Foundation, right? So the Linux Foundation is something which is which Zowe is manages, and Linux Foundation is a part of your Open Mainframe project, and it's actually Open Mainframe project. It's founded in the year of 2015 with a focus towards the complete development of mainframe related computations, or mainframe related any kind of fun integrations or latest developments with the help of open source. So it is focused to develop and deploy the modern mainframe computing sources. Okay, so that's how it is formed in the year of 2015, Open Mainframe Project. Under Open Mainframe Project, you have many projects which is running, and Zowe is a part of that project. So that's where it is called as a project within your Open Mainframe Project. We have different projects which is under open source framework, and Zowe is one of that. Okay, and so Linux Foundation is the basic goal is it's supposed to create the greatest shared technology, and which can collaboratively work with the many companies, and even an individuals, developers or users can together collaborate as a community. This technology is evolved. Okay, so this is a little brief about the key basic terminologies. And once after 2050, Linux Foundation is formed, and they started working as a community for anything for a mainframe open source computing environment. So in a way, the first release of 2018, the Open Mainframe project, that is Zowe is added into Open Mainframe project, and the major contribution from the biggest player, IBM, Broadcom, and Racket Software. So they together contributed, invested, of course, contributed towards this. And the first, the project is added here, and we had some minimum the product capabilities and stuff like that. And 2019, the version 1 was launched, and there was a proper ecosystem was built, and conformant program was created. And 2021, Zowe has launched with a support conformant program as well. And 2022, it has got a version 2 release. And in 2023, it focused more on security and training. As we all know, the mainframe enterprise applications, or when running in proprietary of mainframe, it is highly secure, and we have to give the similar security in this. Zowe is also supports the security in terms of normally user access can be authorized with the system authorization facility, SAF, in mainframe we'll call, which will be with the external security manager, ESM, which can be rack up for ACF2. Apart from that, it also manages the security with the digital certificates, and it also supports our modern user identity and authentication through multi-factor authentication. So, which means the complete implementations with this Zowe of any mainframe services, the data and resources during the transit or in rest, everything is very well secured. So this is the first concept. As a community wise, the mainframe related open source was evolved. Otherwise, any application which you build on is completely proprietary, and we do not have any kind of open sourcing. And this is something the biggest innovation as a community, and that's how it is evolved, and it is growing well. And in fact, we do have the next release of Zowe in I think 2024 Q2. They wanted to release version 3. And Linux also declares some kind of the key results in these areas of last 5 years of development, there is an almost 35% of mainframe customers are started using Zowe for this protection as well, and almost 30 to 35% is going to make use in this year 2023 and 24, as it is literally bit matured and security is also incorporated. So it's progressing well with a good roadmap. Yes. So next, let's get into the Zowe details. So as we have seen, it's an open source framework, and it is completely extendable and integratable. And it has got components. The basic or important components are actually application framework. We have to understand how it is architectured, and the component called CLI, command level interface, and Zowe Explorer. And Zowe Explorer is actually kind of a now modern IDE with which we can able to explore some kind of a Z related services. And Zowe Desktop is something in web-based application which we can access through web interface, and there we can also get some required services in place in that virtual desktop. And we also have an API mediation layer which will completely support for getting a services enabled with REST APIs, and we can create as an API, REST API services, and we can consume via web interfaces. So we are going to look into the deep dive of these components in forthcoming slides. So actually, Zowe is actually a component. It comes out with the framework is in such a way that it is having some server-side components as well as a client-side components. You need to have some installers need to be installed in server as well as client-side. Server-side, when you say on the mainframe host Z system, we need to install some components. And what are the components are required, and how do I download, how do I install? All these details are available in zowe.org, that has got a complete documentation on to understand the complete component architecture as well as the downloadables and installation instruction. Everything is provided in that. You can have a glance from zowe.org. And server-side components, Zowe server, and it has got this is actually a part of your Zowe server component, and Zowe SMF, system management facility, is actually a part of mainframe operating system itself. ZOS 2.x is coming out with this product, which all the mainframe professional will avail, and that has an opportunity, or it has capability to connect with your Zowe CLI. And apart from this OS component, your Zowe related server side component, when it is installed, it's basically your the software components comes in the form of a Node.js server components as well as Express.js web service framework, and it also has an proxy application, okay, which communicates with the ZOS services and components. So that's how your application is architecture. So ZSS, it's like your unique system services. What we have in mainframe, we have an Zowe system services, which is installed in your OMBS, and you have an app server which is running on this, which can able to create an layer, mediation layer, and which in turn we can able to get your Zowe desktop. And these are all the different components which runs from the client side. So the client side components is nothing but there are something you need to install at the client in your laptop client, when you mean where you're going to use your workstation or your laptops. So you'll have a Zowe CLI and Zowe Explorer. CLI is a kind of a command prompt line. You will have a command prompt where you will have a complete command level interfaces to interact with the complete Z system. And you have a Zowe Explorer, which is in VS Code extension, Microsoft Visual Studio Code extension. So you have a code editor called Visual Studio Code Editor, which is from Microsoft, which you can install. And when you install it, you can able to access, or any front-end developer will make use of a VS Code editor. So there you have an additional plugins can be installed, which is nothing but your additional component which is required is Zowe Explorer. So this helps you to connect with your Z system, and it creates a profile, and with the help of our user ID and password, we can able to interact with our Z system. And Zowe desktop is a web-based application, which is again consumed as an invoked as an API, and which from here I can able to get whatever is the required application need to be accessed via this desktop. I can able to create and access it. So this is how this the basic framework, and the the bare minimum components we are going to interact. Of course, it also has some additional components which are in the incubation state, and it has to be yet to be released. And yeah, let us have a little detail about Zowe CLI. So Zowe CLI is a command line interface. This basically, it's again, this is available, and we can able to access or get interaction with kind of a runtime environment of Node.js, and it can able to active interact with your mainframe related services and assets, which in turn it helps you to interact with your mainframe related data sets, mainframe jobs, TSO commands, and console commands. And if you wanted to prepare any kind of an the commands together with the scripting, it can able to support. So which means as a mainframe developer or a system operation guy, if you wanted to make use of data set in ISPF, you will access through some option, ISPF 3.2, 3.4, 3.3. So those who are users of mainframe will aware of it. And if you wanted to submit a job, you will get into something called SDSF panel and ST panel for status of the job, and you will interact with those panels. And for TSO, you have a separate option of command ASPF option 6. And for console, you have a console login window, and you need to give the console commands. But all these things, you can get it through a single command line interface. Okay, and how we are accessing this mainframe interaction is possible with your REST APIs calls, and it is basic concept is REST API. It is communicating with your mainframe, and it is also making use of your socket SSH protocol, and of course, by default it interacts with your Z system with ZO system management facility. Let us get into a little deep dive on the demo. So this is what the Zowe system, and this is your command line interface. Okay, this is Zowe CLI command line interface. And as I mentioned, so it helps us to, okay, since it is a command line interface, I have to give a command, right? The command always have to have some kind of a syntax and semantics need to be followed. Since we are new to the system, we may not know how do we give the commands. Let me try to get Zowe help. So Zowe -help. So this is going to give me the options, the help panel, which shows you how to make use of this commands. So it basically interacts with this, and see, it's saying Zowe followed by usages group. So what is this group? Group can be any one of these following at a high level. So it can able to have an auth or config, plugins, profiles. Let me focus more on which is most familiar with all of us. Okay, so let me focus here. So this is the along with Zowe, you have 0s files, or you can simply give file. You can ignore this prefix of 0s. It helps you. These command will help you to manage your complete 0s data sets and jobs. ZOS jobs, which helps you to manage completely job from this command line interface. And TSO command is TSO, ZOS TSO, which helps you to interact with your TSO commands, and console commands with console. So I'm just taking this four, or maybe FTP. FTP, you will do it from your option 6, or you may be writing a Rex routine, or you may write the JCL. So you have a different way to FTP it, but here that also you can do it here. So if you look at same way, the logs, if you wanted to interact, you need to get into the panels and see it, or run the JCL to extract the logs, and you can review. and so on. So, but all of these activity, the basic end users, developers, or an operator will make use of these functions very often. And these things are available in a single interface, and you can able to access through these commands. So in a way, these various functionalities can be doable with the help of a single interface. Not only this, it does everything. It also supports your you can interact with your system management facility. It also helps you to provisioning your system management facility, ZOSMF, and it also helps you to create your profile, or maybe yeah, whatever other daemons which you want to uh, query it and look into for an operation specific, you can do it. So now, let's say, for example, if I wanted to create a data set or want to list a data set, how do I do? And again, we need to know the syntax. Let me just see files. How do I get the syntax? The next level is now I'm going to interact with the data set. Zowe ZOS files is the option. Now, what else I can give as an option? I'm going to get an help here. So I see it is saying, apart from that, again, you use the next level of group, which is here. It's create, delete, or rename, right? Recall, rename, upload, whatever, compare. Anything you will do with a data set. Compare, copy, create, delete. Even if you wanted to download and upload, mount, and in case of a unique system services file, on mounting or mounting your data set files into the file system, or this and migrate your data sets. So DFSMS related commands, everything is doable here. So you see that anything related to dataset as a command level, you can able to do it. So now let me just try to create a dataset. With the interest of a time, I have some of the commands kept here to save some time. I'm making use of this. So Zowe ZOS file, and I wanted to list the dataset. I'm using a list. So here you have an option for list, create for create. You can see the group whatever. And apart from that, I wanted to list the data set. So when you are listing, you have a many option. It can be file system or data set or many things. So I'm using an additional option. So data set, and I wanted to get to know the details of anything prefix with IPM user to list it. I see these are all the data sets in this system as available, which is a prefix with IPM user. And yeah, suppose I wanted to see what are the attributes for this data set. Okay, in that case, I'm just using the same command list along with -a. It can able to provide an attributes of a data set, like how do you view from 3.4 and then give an information, or right, maybe 3.2. So you may be pressing some kind of an keys to get these details, but here I can able to see that attributes as well. And let's say, for example, I wanted to create some new data set. So now instead of list, I'm going to use create. So which type of a data set I'm going to create? So data set sequential. Okay. So which means I wanted to create a PS data set. Let me name this separately. So let me give some new name. So I'm naming like this. So I wanted to create a physical sequential data set, which is PS. I'm creating as a test, and data set is created. Now let me try to list the data set, whatever is created. So I see that there is a data set is created with this prefix. It is whatever we have created also, it is listing it. So it's easily within when compared to your mainframe, you need to go through your 3.2, give an option to allocate, and then provide your name, and then go to the next panel, provide your allocation parameters, and then it will allocate. So now I have not given any allocation parameter. In what way it is allocated? It has a model, and with that it is taking the parameter and it is allocating. If you like to override those model parameter, we can provide these keywords and give the value on for this keywords. In a way, you can able to get the data set allocated with the required format. All right. So now let us try to get into next command. Let me say, for example, I'm going to make use of this. So let's say, for example, I wanted to list the list file system hyphen p, and I'm using this. Let's see how it comes. Okay. So you see, I just made this with intentional just to make sure that I told that it is invoked by a REST API. So when this is something wrong, how this is error is prompted to you. So you are getting an HTTP request error. The error status is 404, and because the whatever the parameter I provided is not correct or not relevant, right? So it's supposed to be like this. Yeah. So now you see if something is wrong, this is how it will throw an error. So now it is just showing then file system under your OMBS region. And I've created a data set, listed a data set, and supposing an additional parameter if I wanted to give while creating, let me see. So I wanted to create a data set, a partition data set this time. So, and in partition dataset, I wanted to create a type as a library. I wanted to create a PDSC dataset to hold my load modules, let's say, for example. So then, as mentioned, it's a PDS and an additional type of dataset type I'm providing as an library. Okay, so maybe I can give some. So the data set is created and I wanted to list the data set. I'll be using the same command here. And let's see. Zowe is files list data set. Okay, so the PDSC data set is again created. And if you wanted to see the attribute, so this is of the type. Okay, it has given everything related to, so it is of the type library. Okay, and whereas this type is dataset organization PS for your PS file, whatever created, but for PDSC dataset, whatever we created is of the type library. So yeah, I think I just wanted to go through few options. Probably likewise, you can able to get into many. Let me just say, as I told that we can able to create many options in this file. So in dataset, you have many options. If I wanted to see what are the different the keywords or systems I can use it, I can quickly get some kind of an help of ZOS files hyphen help of examples. So any there are different data types, right? So unique system services, file systems, or data sets of different type, different format. I wanted to see the example of how the command need to be listed. You can just give this command. It can give you all options examples to see, for example, Unix system files, how to view this, how to change your permissions, how to compare the data sets. See, you're comparing a data set in a single command line, and you are compare data set and probably give some kind of without sequencing number you wanted to get this comparison listing. So everything is possible. You can try to locate a particular file and member, so content. All these options are possible with your single command line. And same way, if I wanted to see the job related thing, UV Zowe jobs, and I'll say help, and I can go for example. It is giving me the okay, my bad. I think I have used Zowe jobs hyphen help samples. So I have to use in a proper way. So Zowe jobs and help with an example. Yeah, you see that? So you have a jobs related, list a job with whatever your uh, the prefixes and all, and wanted to get an uh, output of a job output. Everything is possible here. If you wanted to delete a particular job ID, and if you wanted to list all the jobs, or you wanted to return the execution of the particular job with the default prefix of particular data sets. So everything is possible. So see, I'm going to list the spool files with a particular job number, job ID. So you can list it. Anything what you're going to do with there, you can able to do it in a single uh, command line command from here. So if you wanted to print only the status of your output jobs with an active or output, and anything is possible. So the operator mostly will go through of these things that is doable in your command line. So as we have seen in the first help section, so it helps you to provide the any complete operationals and development activities or end user activities with the help of CLI. So let me take you through first. So as I mentioned, it helps you to completely interact with your data sets and jobs and TSO commands, console commands, or any kind of scripts which you can create and run it. And the one another thing is, it also gives you a response. Supposing when it is responding, we have seen the command line command, if you put it, it is giving me the response. Let's say, for example, this response, whatever we getting, if I wanted to get it in a JSON document format, and so these formats can be consumed for other open open other programming languages, it is doable. So you can get the response with JSON also. So that is also doable. So in a way, it is very efficient. So this is regarding CLI. Hope you would have understood on how to take it up your CLI commands. I took you through complete help and examples. So in a way, you can try to make use at a full-fledged with Zowe CLI. So next comes your Explorer. So Zowe Explorer is actually your Visual Studio Code extension. And as I mentioned, it's in VS Code editor. Along with that, we are going to install an additional plugin. So it gives you a modernized look and feel of how the developers or system administrator can interact with their mainframe services and components. And yes, let me just get into this and come back probably. Because with this, you can able to do a file or dataset management, job management, and also it can make over as a command level interface integrations, and application development debugging can be done in a much better way. And it also have an additional plugins for the complete ecosystem. And let's get into the live demo here. And it's again, this is my Zowe system, and this is my VS Code editor. And this is, I hope this is what your Visual Studio Code editor, which might be you might have seen, or maybe if anybody from non-mainframe front-end development activities you're doing, you will make use of this as your IDE or code editor. And this has got a default this thing option. So normally you will have this Explorer, which you can make use to get your new project or files into the system. So this is an Explorer and this is a search, and this is something your source control which you can make use for your versioning. Any application when you build, your version can be controlled with your source control tool. So here this is connected with your Git. Git is a modern SCM tool with which whatever the development activities developer is doing can be versioning done with this. And this is actually by default VS Code. Well, you can run once you compile your program, you can run and debug from this option. And this is all your extension. So from here, the plugin, you can just type search for a plugin extension from this market space, and it will give it will list you, and from there you can go for installation. Say for example, let me just try to search for something. Let me see any other plugins. I'm unable to recall some names. Yeah, but you have some additional plugins also. But anyway, since it is installed, it is already available. So the normally otherwise you will search and it will ask you for the option install. You can just install it. Once installed, you will get an additional option here. This is your Zowe Explorer. So this Zowe Explorer has actually coming out with 3 navigation windows. One is a data set, and which helps you to interact with your files and data set, that PS and PDS data sets, whatever data set which you can get it from 3.4, and unique system services to navigate your OMBS region, and this is your jobs. So these 3 options are available as in mainframe users. And when you are writing a code, your code development happens with this. This is a code editor. You can able to do it, and you have a terminal to run and compile your programs and all. So let me just try to get some kind of an so ideally, when you wanted to connect with your Z system, you have to initially create your profile, and you give your user ID and password to connect with your G system. And once it is connected, it is accessible, and you can able to get the data set accessible from here. And this is your dataset window. And you have a unique system services window where you can provide some kind of filters, and you can access USS datasets here. So in a much simpler way. And you can see here what is an anything what you're going to provide your options. You can able to get it from here itself. You have a right click. You have an options for running any commands on with your uh, unique system services. And you have an jobs. You can also search your active, since user ID logged in is IBM user specific job ST panel. How do I see my ST panel from SDSF? I can able to get it from here, and this is how we can able to get the job logs. So this is a possible 3 navigation from Zowe Explorer. And so in case if you wanted to get into any kind of an coding also, you can just anyways, this is only for this options. When we have an code debugging will be of we will be going through the in the other webinars. That time I can show you the how do I debug the code with the help of Zowe as of now. So I wanted to make use this session to make the understanding of how do we can make use of a Zowe Explorer in an interactive way with a modern interface. Hope this would have helped you to understand how the Zowe Explorer helps for mainframe users. So the same Explorer also helps you to debug your code. Code editing can be much done easier way with a modern IDE, and it also gives you an option to contact assist model in a way the errors anything is flagged when the developer writing a code, it is immediately highlighted and you can able to correct the code. rather than in ISPF panel, we will code it and it will not highlight. Whereas when I compile, the compiler listing will show you the errors, and then you need to come back the code and you need to correct it. So whereas this is a much simpler and easier, and effectively we can do the programming. So your development time will get reduced a lot. So next comes your, so this is a kind of a plugins. You need to install the plugin. You need to connect with your Zowe's host system, and you need to access the Explorer. That is, you have to create the profile and user ID password you can provide so that you can able to get access to the mainframe related assets and here in the Zowe Explorer. And we have another component called Zowe Desktop. So you can actually this Zowe desktop is actually a kind of an uh, web application which is created from your Zowe application framework as a kind of an application plugins created for this Zowe desktop with which we could able to access it. So this desktop, whatever is by default is created is it has these options. MVS Explorer you can view for a data set, and JS Explorer for your jobs, and USS Explorer for your Unix system services files, and TN3270 emulator to just get into your as usual emulators. Let me just show you how it is. This is one of the a good example of how do we create an application plugins on our own required way. So I'm getting into this. So this is your web application. The Zowe desktop is a kind of a web application. That's what I mentioned. So I'm accessing here from this web interface, whereas I could able to see this options. So this is an virtual desktop where I could able to get these applications added here, and so I could able to see it. If I like to add other applications here in this, it is doable, and it has got some set of a predefined procedure you need to follow to make this happen, and it is doable. And that anyways we will be taking on the further webinars on how do we do this individually. As the Zowe related things, we started first. We wanted to give a little basic of all the components. And let's see 3270 components. It's accessible. It is just like as usual, the emulator, how you're accessing. I can able to access my G system in the typical legacy model. You can able to access with this. And I see something called MVS Explorer. So how this becomes a little simpler instead of ISPF screen navigations, and sometimes people are having a lack of skill can able to easily access with these kind of an interfaces and try to understand and edit it. And this is your MVS Explorer, similar to Explorer whatever we have seen in the Zowe Explorer. JS Explorer is predominantly only this ST panels is available or created as an application plugin, and we are getting it here instead of getting into high SDSF panel. So likewise, the concept here is whichever application you wanted to access, you can able to little customize, convert, and make it available here so that it is easily accessible. And you are making that as a modernization, right? So that's what I'm trying to say here. And for editor, let me just show you this editor. So this will be a much simpler way. See your data sets, whatever you want. I'm just using this data sets. And if anything wanted to do on this data sets or properties and browse, you can able to do it. And Unix system services is a command line interface. Like when you're getting into this USS region, if you wanted to change the permission, you wanted to make some a change mod command or change group command. So mostly everything will work through the command line command, which is little uh, uh, not so easy. Whereas suppose, for example, here, if I wanted to go for a change permission or change mod command, it's very easy. You have an GUI based representation. You can easily get it done. So there is no need to go through the command syntax and things like that. It is easily accessible via this one. So you can able to change the group, and if you wanted to do anything like refresh, take, create a directory, upload, rename, all these things is possible. Change owner if I wanted to do. So mostly this change mod, change permission, changing. Often you will do it. This can be easily doable with this kind of an editors. So this is how your desktop application plugins can be included here from your customized requirements as well. So some of the sample application was created here with the help of a React application. It's created as your desktop plugin and added here. And yeah, so like this, your mainframe banking application or insurance applications can be customized and converted into this API enabled, and you can able to access via this web enabled applications. So it has got some set of process you need to go through, but you can able to get it access via this. So this is all about your Zowe desktop. I'm going back to this presentation. So let's see what next. Next comes your API catalog, API mediation layer, that is API catalog services. It basically provides the complete gateway for your Zowe services, and allow we can create. It has got an enormous way of making use of this API mediation layer. So the by default your Zowe SMF is accessible via this API catalog services only, catalog mediation layer only. And you can also try to create and onboard your REST API services, and that can be accessible via this API catalog. So we can try to create the API REST services, and you can able to include here in this catalog mediation layer and try to contribute more or convert your application into modernization. And we can also create, as I told, it's a kind of a community. We can able to try to contribute more for this in terms of preparing our own REST API services and including into this mediation layer. So there are few things is available here. It's only basic the list I've captured here. So these are all the things are available, but more than this, we can also try to contribute more, or for our own requirement, we can try to modernize our application with the API services. And this also gives you an DevOps adoption or implementation. So you can easily your Visual Code Studio editor, when the developer is doing code changes, your CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment can be triggered from your Jenkins. We can create the Jenkins pipeline and define the various stages, and you can prepare the job and execute. And when you are working with the Jenkins, you the DevOps engineer might aware of this a DevOps Jenkins pipeline, different stages, and how to get and execute. It predominantly looks like this. So this is the sample pipeline, which is created with the different stages of cloning a repository, setting up enrollment, and creating your profiles and submitting a job, verify the output, and refresh. So where it is, how long this process took, the job took, and this is how you will be looking into your pipeline stages and how it is progressing. So this is, we have not demonstrated this time. Probably you can continuously follow us. We will be showing up this DevOps adoption shortly in forthcoming months. So this is how your Jenkins can be integrated. So when I am working with Jenkins, again, here is also you will have a Jenkins server which is running on your Windows, and it has to connect with your Z system with Z Jenkins, which is installed. The agent, Jenkins agent, will be installed on your mainframe operating system and a Unix OMVS region, and there will be a port which will listen for your request, and accordingly, the connection can be established with your Jenkins server, which is running on your Windows, to the client, which is running on your host Z system. And in a way, we can try to trigger the build process. The build is again with your mainframe build, IBM DBB, which is a modern build, and deployment can be with the customer of choice. It can be any deployment tool they can use accordingly that need to be integrated. And if it is an UCD, UCD can be very much integrated with the Jenkins, and you can try to deploy through using. So there are many plugins available with available which can be integrated with Jenkins also, and you can try to integrate and configure and get it enabled with your pipeline orchestration. Yeah, so this gives you a complete modernization of DevOps implementation. To conclude, I think as we discussed, Zowe is supporting your mainframe modernization in a much effective way. Yes, it has a modern web-based interfaces and streamlined mainframe process operations, and it enhance productivity, as many things we can do in a simple sense. It reduces your time and effort, and also it does it is giving you an increased adoption for DevOps. So in a way, yes, Zowe is supporting and maximizing an efficiency with mainframe modernization or integration. And as I mentioned earlier, Zowe is a kind of a community we are contributing. So here is an option where you can able to contribute for anything you wanted to do with this community. And this is a link which gives you a roadmap of what way we can contribute. And this is already available in your zowe.org. You can get into, and you can try to get into the contribute option where uh, anybody, like as an organization you can contribute, or as an individual technical person passionate towards some contribution, yes, you can do that. So either way, any individuals or technical skilled individuals, it need not be mainframe skilled, even a non-mainframe skilled people also can contribute, because it's a development is in an open system. So of course mainframe skilled is also required. So wherever we can contribute, mainframer or non-mainframer, we can start contributing. It may be in the form of the forthcoming product development if we can contribute, or any kind of bugs which is available in the existing, we can try to take it up and fix it, or we can come out with preparing some kind of a documentation, or even we can kind of a promote something. So there are various options in which we can contribute. Probably I request you can get into this and see that how you can contribute more for this community, and you can get it. And of course those who are contributing will be given some kind of a badges, and the will get recognized, of course, and you can get the complete details and guidelines. Of course, we have to adhere and go through some kind of a guidelines which is given by Linux Foundation, which we need to go through and we can contribute. Okay, and from Royal Cyber as an exclusive offer for this webinar. In case of any mainframe modernization related engagement, if you wanted to avail, we have a complimentary assessment, which might be a kind of a free assessment. We can do it to understand or assess your system, take some kind of a sample application and come out with some proposed approaches and projected timelines and all we can provide. And we do have some kind of a dump start package, and which may take off up maximum of 6 weeks to take some kind of a sample of your systems and applications and come out with your solutions in terms of modernization or any other challenges which you face. We can do that, assess and come out with some kind of a proposed approach, implementation plan and timeline, and the projected estimate as well. Yeah, so you can reach to us anything on your mainframe related modernization services or engagement to this info@royalcyber.com, and feel free to reach to us anything related to this. And let me open up the forum for Q&A.